the Astronoodle. Here we are for this evening. Hello, Bubba. Bubba is the mascot for the evening. All right. All right. Thank you so much for being here. So, hold on a second. Gotta make some shifts here. Good evening and welcome. Hello, Lorraine. Wow, it's been a while. I was asking, did you get slammed by those huge storms? I know they went through the area for Path Traveler. She got through okay, but it was pretty brutal. I saw some of the stuff on the news. My God. And let's have a look. So Ivona, greetings. Thanks for dropping by. Sorry, I was just getting set up. Then I was making the Astro Doodle for today, for this evening. And Larry Edward, greetings. I don't know if you're still here. Looks like a bunch of people arrived and a bunch of people left, so I can't really tell. But thank you for dropping by. I'm going to go on to the Astro Doodle right now. First of all, let me say hello. First of all, I want to say if anyone is interested in booking a little live mini reading tonight, we do the tarot readings live here. And you can use your PayPal directly to my email here. If you can read that, it says, a little book about at yahoo.com. The other way you can do it is you can go over to tarotlumination.com and you can click the donate page and you can click the yellow orange donate button. That takes you to another processor. Or you can, let's see how else we can do it. Oh yeah, there's Super Chat. So Super Chat is like where you type in, wherever you guys type in. Oh, Larry Edward, big fan. Wow, thank you so much. How come you didn't introduce yourself before? We've been waiting for you. It's a very small, elite little crowd that we have here, so I'm very grateful. Yeah, I was talking about people who wanted little live mini readings. So if anyone's interested out there and you're watching, you can click the Super Chat button. Now, if you're not familiar with that, there's a little button just below where you type stuff in the chat, in the live chat. It's a rectangle with a $sign in it. You click that button and it pops up another payment processor on your screen. And it goes straight through YouTube, Google, and all of that. So there's 3 different ways. If you've got your own PayPal and you're used to it, just send the money directly to a little book about it, yahoo.com. Or if you want to take the other pathway, that's the one I just showed you. Go to terralumination.com, click the donate page and the donate button, and that brings up another payment processor. Or you can do the Super Chat that I just described. Either way, most times donations lately these days are sort of in the $10 range. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. If anyone's out there interested, I'll just put that over there on the side as a reminder. Who knows? We might not get anybody tonight. I don't know. But anyway, let me just say hello and good evening. Bubba, the adorable mascot, was hanging out here for a few minutes earlier. It made some of my handwriting a little bit jolty, but I'm still here, and we managed to create an astrodoodle. Now, I was encouraged by some people to do a daily astrodoodle. I'm still thinking about it. It sounds crazy, but that was like 6 months ago. But you know, life goes on. Things happen, and you might have all the best intentions in the world, and your priorities shift over time. Like, what are you actually doing with your time? Time is an incredibly precious asset. It's probably, in my terms, in my life, my world, it's the most valuable asset. I mean, there's gold, there's silver. I like watching those money channels, as you know, especially Mark Moss and Neil McCoy and Simon Dixon and a few others as well. There's also George Gammon and Lynette Zhang. I love them. They're all hardcore real money people. And I'm also studying crypto. I'm not as deep into it as some people. I have some friends who are really deep into it, and I have a lot to learn. I've already made huge mistakes and suffered huge losses, but I've also recovered and coming back, as they say, above water and beyond. So I'm feeling hopeful for the future. Because right now, as you might have noticed on my doodles earlier, I highlighted 2 subjects: global finance and another subject, truth versus lies. Interesting how they're both connected simultaneously. Let me go over here. Let's see if I can do this. All right. So, I've got the little astrodoodle. This is for tonight, right now, here on planet Earth. Remember, this is sacred geometry. This is not wizardry. This is not alchemy. This is not some kind of cult material, symbolic, language or anything. Some people think of it that way, but really it's just a whole bunch of math and geometry, and the symbols are allocated through mythology over thousands of years of human beings watching the planets and the stars. Now, up until about 100 years or so ago, you could see the visible planets. And people have been studying that for thousands of years, and they call it astrology, okay? We can see the sun, Mercury, Venus, Moon, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. And they have highly predictable patterns and orbits that we can track, and they are all very accurately mapped out in what is called an ephemeris, which is an extremely hyper-detailed chart of the movement of the planets. It's the same information that is used by NASA and SpaceX and Origin for all their space flights. Okay? It's the same information because they have to know what the planets are doing, where they're going, because there are gravitational fields associated with their position and their movements. So, it's the same thing with astrology. The astrology of the planets has a gravitational pull on human beings and humanity, just like it does on a traveling, projectile going into outer space. We might as well be aware of it. The most obvious example, of course, is the moon and the tides. The other one that's quite popular is what they call Mercury retrograde. The other one that's really popular, of course, is the sun. That has very consistent, regular patterns. Elizabeth Boucher, good evening. How do you register for a mini reading? Well, what I can do first of all is give you your own magic post-it note, and then I'll explain again how you can put money in the pot. Here we go. Elizabeth Boucher. Good evening, Elizabeth. Thank you for visiting. So, Elizabeth, I know we've done this before, but it's been quite a while. And if we can't sort it out exactly here tonight, I'll sort it out with you later by email, so don't worry. I'll do this again so that other people who are watching might have an idea. So, Elizabeth, there's 3 ways that you can donate. Number 1, if you've got your own PayPal already, you can just literally open up your account and send like $10 or something to alittlebookabout@yahoo.com. That's my email here, alittlebookabout@yahoo.com. Or you can go to, if depending how comfortable you are with computers and browsers and everything like that, you can go to another browser and go to terralumination.com. You can find the donate page and then go to the donate button, and that pulls up a payment processor. Bing! Just like PayPal's, really. And you can put some money in there. And the other thing that you can do is super chat. But the thing is that Google YouTube takes a lot of that money, so I personally prefer the 2 ways that we talked about. Super chat is where you press the little button where you type, and it's got a $sign, and that sends up a live payment processor on your screen, and you put the money in there. Okay? Good evening. Hello, Tina. Greetings, Tina. Nice to have you aboard. So anyway, thank you, Elizabeth. I'll put you over here. So, Elizabeth, you've got a reading coming up tonight. Greetings, Tina. So, Tina, it must be pretty chilly where you are. I think you're up in... are you still in Houston, or are you up in Helena, Montana right now? Are you kind of in between? Anyway, I was talking about the planets. So here we are tonight on yet another evening, a week later. And again, I was talking about how... Hello, Mr. Ross, good evening. So I was talking about how some people were urging me to do like a daily, literally a daily, like, 3, 5, 7, 8 minutes a day to talk about the astrodoodles. And I've thought about that, but I haven't done it yet. I actually have a new YouTube channel. It's called The Daily Transit. But again, I've hardly done anything on it because I'm so scared to lose the little bit that I have here at Terralumination, because the Terralumination channel is more or less just a remnant of what used to be something quite dynamic. And right now it's a very, very highly concentrated, tiny little channel with a very loving, caring group of highly supportive members. And I'm very appreciative of that because it keeps me going. I cannot tell you, everybody, how important this channel is for me in doing the Tarot Illumination service. It's a question of how to do it effectively for the most people and for the most value, and so on and so on. Right now, really all I can do is these Sunday night shows and individual private readings. I do personal readings, which are obviously quite a bit more expensive, and we can book them the same way, and we go deep, deep into the tarot and the astrology. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, let's get back to tonight, right now, here on planet Earth at this moment in time. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. So, these are the planets. Okay, here's the Sun in Sagittarius. Mercury is in Sagittarius. Moon is in Aries. Sun, Moon, Mercury. Venus is in Capricorn. Mars is over here on the cusp of Scorpio and Sagittarius. So that's kind of a difficult placement. Hey, Necessary Truth. Thanks for dropping by. So we've got Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars. Jupiter is over here in Aquarius. Saturn is still in Aquarius. Uranus is over here in Taurus. Neptune in Pisces, and Pluto in Capricorn. So with Uranus, Neptune, and Pisces, they've been moving very slowly, and they've been there for a while, so no big deal. But the things that move very quickly, of course, are the Moon and Mercury and the Sun. Well, and Venus too. Okay, anyway, so right now at this moment in time, if you could take a snapshot of the universe and our solar system, the way I see it from here on planet Earth, this is what it would look like, okay? I know it's very rudimentary, crude kind of art form, but, you know, it's just a handmade version of what's gone out there in what they do on the very expensive softwares for astrologers. Now, I'll go for the green stuff here because this is where it's very, very sweet and comfortable. So it's very nice when we've got Venus and Jupiter in very tight harmony with each other. And all I can say for tonight right now, it's a very benefic, comforting feeling. Let's put it that way. Like, you know, it's not the end of the world yet kind of feeling. Relationships are still possible. There is healing in relationships. There is abundance. There is hope for humanity in love and relationships. Okay? That's the sort of hidden message, the way I see it. The other harmonious aspect here is between Saturn and the Moon. Saturn in Aquarius, sweet sextile to the Moon in Aries. Again, the Aquarius theme being strong here, very, what's happening with humanity. Humanity is being severely tested. Like, what are we doing as a race, as people? Hey, Tina has a new twist. Okay, I'm going to be excited. Cherry Albi. Okay, I hope I said that correctly. I have a new twist. I wonder if it's something to do with real estate. Thanks, Tina. We'll follow up. So, with the Moon here in Aries, again, we might have a moment of optimism where things are not quite so desperate for humanity as they could be. Because, in contrast, we have some very serious problems going on with humanity. Okay? So, Saturn in Aquarius here, humanity is being tested. And it's being tested in terms of its value systems and the global financial systems about what works for humanity as opposed to what works for the super extreme elite. there's kind of a battle going across Earth right now between the elite and the common people. And the common people want to have a chance at a life where their money has real value. And that is a huge problem for the ultra elite, because they want everything they can get from you. They are farming you, whether you like it or know it or not. And they've been farming you for 150 years. And some people across Earth, like myself and a few others, are starting to realize that this is a problem. I don't want to be farmed anymore. I'm sick of being farmed. I want my own life. I want to be part of humanity. I don't have to be the boss or the leader. I can just be part of humanity, where each of us has our rights, our dignity, our truth, our integrity, our individuality respected in the context of the group. I don't feel like I want to be completely led and controlled and owned by a handful of super elites who think they know better than the group. That's not cool. So we've got a big challenge going on here. The Aquarius-Taurus hard square. It's a very hard square. And what's happening in the world of global finance is global financial revolution. In case you haven't heard about it, there are some massive radical upheavals going on in global finance. You may or may not be aware, but it is happening either way, whether you're aware or not. So, in that context, what does that look like for humanity? Well, it's a real problem for humanity, because what works for humanity would be this egalitarian, let's say, universal form of money that has universal value and has intrinsic value for all people for all time. A kind of money system or a currency system that cannot be exploited, that cannot be farmed or perverted by a bunch of super ultra elites. And that's where the battle is happening right now, because the more and more that humanity wakes up and says enough is enough, and we start to create true money, true wealth, true value, that causes a lot of problems for the ultra super elites, okay? So that's happening right now, and the most obvious examples are what's happening with China and the collapse, the impending collapse of their economy. At the tip of the iceberg is the Evergrande real estate fiasco. And at the same time, the collapse of the United States economy with the Federal Reserve fiasco. It's all happening simultaneously. There is a global implosion of the status quo financially, which is basically a massive global Ponzi scheme originated and designed by the United States Federal Reserve. Thank you very much. And the rest of the world had to comply in order to survive. But that game is starting to fall apart, and a new game is starting to appear. So it's like a war. Okay? So that's why I marked it on here. Here we are. Aquarius, Taurus. There's that conflict. Okay? It's to do with global finance, the way I see it, on a very broad scale, wide vision, wide lens reading interpretation. All of us, whether we like it or know it or not, are being affected by this dynamic. Me personally, I'm doing everything I can to get on the healthy side of this thing, so I am not a victim of the super ultra elites. There's going to be like two parallel worlds happening simultaneously. And so the next thing is that we have this very hard square between the Sun and Neptune. The Sun is in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a truth seeker, a wisdom seeker. Sagittarius energy is highly intolerant of fake BS and fraud and lies and the absence of truth. On the other hand, Neptune in Pisces is the grand master of fraud, deception, betrayal, lies, corruption, perversion, distortion, sickness, disease, when it's in its shadow energy. And frankly, Neptune is deep in shadow energy because it's an extremely hard energy for humanity to integrate in a healthy level. Frankly, I think it'll be hundreds of years before humanity knows how to integrate Neptune energy properly. We're still trying to struggle with Uranus, let alone Pluto. Okay. So, we have these two highly uncomfortable dynamics tonight, right now. They're very acute, they're very sharp. One regards global finance and this tug of war between what amounts to fake money and real money. I've talked about this quite a bit before on my channel with the astrology. There are other channels that go much deeper into it, but they're just purely finance. They have nothing to do with astrology or tarot or anything. But I see personally a very strong correlation between what I do here on this channel and the themes that we're talking about here, especially global finance and the theme of truth and lies. Truth is everywhere if you want to access it. The problem is truth, as represented here, is a huge problem for the lies and the fraud and the betrayal and the deception that has been the hallmark of the business model of the super elites. They have done an excellent job for 120 years of betraying and deceiving humanity and effectively farming humanity and sucking the lifeblood out of humanity through very, very subtle but very powerful and destructive financial models. All of that stuff is starting to come into question, and it is being, let's say, counteracted by people who are smart enough to figure out this can't last forever. We have to come back to truth, okay? Right now, the global financial system is based on a pack of lies, a massive globalized Ponzi scheme, which so long as you don't question it and you go along with it, it works perfectly, so long as you don't understand what's actually happening to you. Once you understand what's actually happening to you, you realize that this is unacceptable. And so there's enough people who figure that out, and they are seeking ways and means to come back to truth, okay? It's like the sun is shining a huge flashlight onto the sickly, perverted, dark, sour, moldy, cancer-ridden basement of humanity, which is like a disease throughout the whole of humanity. You've got to reveal it to heal it. We can't fix this problem without revealing it. We're still deep in the process of revealing. We've started the early days of repairs and creating a new paradigm. But that is a huge evolutionary leap for humanity. And you can't just do that because Tarot Lumination said so because of watching an astrodoodle. It's going to take, I don't know, I would say decades. The really big shift, by the way, if you want to talk about calendar moments. Okay, so let's move on. I've already talked enough about all this stuff. So these are the two big challenges here. The Aquarius-Taurus energy regarding global finance, which ultimately trickles down to your own personal finance. Might want to start studying personal finance. I'd love to help people. I'm not an expert, but I can point you in good directions. And then the other dynamic here, very, very difficult for the Neptune energy, because this is the energy of fraud that is so important to the perpetrators of the fraud, okay? Over here. They can't do what they do. They can't exploit the masses financially without committing gross fraud. But that's what they do. Anyway, at the same time, we've got this really awkward T-square here. Mars is opposite the North Node. Mars is actually in Scorpio, but it's by degree, it's heading into 0 to 1 degree Sagittarius, which means 0 to 1 degree Gemini North Node. So that it's like we're coming into the closing stages of the Gemini North Node journey that we've been dealing with for the last year and a half. A profound war between truth and lies. Okay? This T-square has been going on and off, back and forth for a year and a half in some form or another. And it's coming up to its last few moments. And eventually, once the node shifts into, once the south node shifts into Sagittarius, there will be a north node shift. Once the south node shifts into Scorpio, there's going to be a north node shift into Taurus. So the subject of global finance is going to become a lot more amplified over the next year and a half. And guess what happens during that time? Just guess. If you've been watching this show, you might guess. What's going to happen? Early 2022, Pluto is going to be sitting right about here. It's going to move from here to here, and it's going to be at the exact conjunction of 27 degrees Pluto retrograde for the birth chart of the United States. So I guarantee that when we come into February, March, and April of 2022, there's going to be some kind of global convulsive activity that's unavoidable, and it's going to be focused and centered around the United States. And it's going to happen in the news some way, somehow. My personal feeling, it might be to do with the exposure of all the global fraud regarding these injections and global finance and global, barcoding our whole bodies and injecting us with trackable, I don't want to talk about it because they'll shut me down. Hello, Heather. Hello, Catherine. I don't know you, but thanks for being here. Welcome aboard. So what's going to happen, the stressful aspects that I've been talking about here and here are going to amplify. They will change the form and way the story is coming about, but more and more truth will be exposed, and more fraud will be exposed, and more pressure on global finances to become authentic and genuine and retaining in value and deflationary in structure, so that we the people over here, okay, Aquarius, okay, Saturn is there, Jupiter's still there, we the people actually get to reclaim our authenticity, our identities, our right to our sovereign selves and existence, including the way that shows up in our wallets, okay? So there you go. Okay, we just booked another reading. Okay, so here we go. We have a reading for Kimber. Kimber just sent in for a reading. Kimber, I believe, is here anonymously, but I got the tip on the side here. So we got two readings lined up tonight. We've got Elizabeth Boucher, and we have one for Kimber. Let me just look through the chat. Cheers, good evening, welcome everybody. Okay, where are we? Oh, there we are. Hello everybody. I was here a little while ago when I first started, but now I'm checking in personally now that there's more of us here. Good evening. Hello Heather over there in British Columbia. Hello Elizabeth in Los Angeles. Hello Tina down there in Houston. And it looks like you are really in the transition. Your notes on top said your house in Texas is under contract. The new house is closing January 7th. Oh my gosh, that's exciting. After waiting 6 months to have your knee replacement done, physical therapy failed. Surgery is scheduled 12/27. Oh my gosh. Some of you might know Love Triber. As you know, exactly 1 month ago, Love Triber had major spinal surgery, And guess what? She's already up and walking about. I know she's around somewhere, but I know for a fact that she's up and around and walking. So surgery does work, okay? We live in miraculous times, honestly. I'm sorry the therapy failed, but Tina, for peace of mind, my brother is a very fit, active guy, and his knee is totally screwed. And he's just putting it off for as long as possible. But he already knows that he needs like a knee replacement. He's already had those knee sort of adjustments with the kneecap and the fluids and the massages and whatever, but it's not working. So it looks like he's going to be heading towards surgery. But that's probably in another year or two. He's going to put it off as long as possible. And it says here, Tina, it says, 2 weeks after the knee replacement, I will be driving to Montana. Oh my God, it's actually happening. Wow. This is really exciting. Tina, you sent money as well. Oh, okay. Hold on. Casey, Missouri. Hello, Larry. Oh, so you're in Missouri. Okay. Cool. Oh, so Larry, did you get slammed by those storms? I was asking Lorraine Thomasek. She's up in Ohio. I don't know. I didn't hear back. I know Kentucky got really slammed. Let's have a look. Oh, I'm sorry, Tina. My second knee replacement failed. Wow. I know it can be done. I know knee replacements can work. My sister has already had a total hip replacement. And she was up and around walking. It was very successful. She was very lucky. I can't imagine. I mean, I've had major surgery on my spine as well. I broke my back. I had to have all sorts of spinal surgery. And no one would know unless I tell them. Tina, I trust you. I'm going to just... Give me a second here, Tina. I'm going to go check on the Terra Lumination emails to see about whatever came in or not or whatever. Tina and Alyssa. Okay, I see that. Okay, we're good. So, Tina, I will put you in the box there. So, Larry, you didn't get any hits by the storm. Okay. All right. Well, while I'm here on the stage, I'm going to write in a magic post-it note for Tina Miller. Yay! Wow. Tina, from what I know of you, it's like you're one of those people you just can't help yourself. You're a little bit of a compassion junkie like myself. And your heart goes out to people. Your heart goes with your beautiful dogs. And you're still got the vibe of wanting to help people. So you can't help it. And that's how it is. But it does take a toll on your body. We know that, okay? Most of the damage to my body has come from helping other people. I'm not trying to claim myself as a hero, but that's just the facts. I used to be a workaholic. I'm not a workaholic anymore. I kind of destroyed so many body parts being a workaholic. And what's it done for me? I'm still just, little Terra Lumination here. Okay, let me go back to the stage. Let me go back and join you guys. Right now, we have a booking for Elizabeth and Kimber and Tina. Wait a minute, what's it? Janet Webster. Hello, Janet. Welcome. Tina, that's what my rheumatoid arthritis doctor said after I spent 3 months complaining. I have to go to physical therapy in order to get a knee brace prescribed. Well, I mean, there's different ways. I'm fairly lucky myself. My knees are holding up. I can still walk. I have badly damaged feet. But again, you wouldn't know unless I told you, or I had to tell you. But most of the time, like a lot of people who have crossed a certain milestone in life where you're starting to see that your shelf life has a certain ticking clock that goes with it. I have a feeling I have a long way to go, and I hope you guys hang in there with me. But after a while, your body takes a bunch of knocks. It gets hammered. You get, people bump into you. You bump into people. You hurt yourself, and all sorts of stuff happens. And luckily, I've been well served by doctors and healthcare. I know Love Triber has been very well served by her surgeons and everything. So that's going really, really well. But again, we wouldn't wish this on anybody. It's just the wear and tear of life. For most of us here tonight, all of us talking about our injuries, 50, 80, 100 years ago, there would have been very little recourse. Mostly the local doctor would get you a little bottle of laudanum. Laudanum was basically highly concentrated morphine tincture, like an extract, with a little bit of kaolin mixture in the bottom to relieve the pain. But they really couldn't do a lot. They didn't have advanced spinal surgery or, cancer treatments or hip replacements or knee replacements or any of that stuff. So we're kind of living in the opening stages of a miraculous new kind of world where human life is being extended through medicines, medications, and orthopedics, and all sorts of stuff like that. Yeah, see, Janet has a point there. I see your point. Hello, Maria. Ha ha ha. Arkansas. Well, we've got quite a collection here tonight. Thank you so much. Cheers. Yeah. Seriously, some of us here, we've been here for almost 4 years. We've been doing this. I'm just having a little tiny flashback right now. But since Maria just arrived, Maria's been hanging out at the channel whenever she can or wants to, but since about 4 years. And of course, we've done a few readings here and there. And I'm really, really proud of that. I'm really proud. Today I woke up wondering, why are things happening the way they're happening in my life? Why does it happen where so many things get crushed and destroyed, yet there's so much good intention? And then I end up having to surrender to that which is, because if you knew my astrology and my chart and so on, you'd see I have a life where I don't have a lot of options except sacrifice and to surrender to divine ordinance, and that's it. I used to be honestly, frankly, a narcissist. I really believe that. Looking back now on my life, I was completely self-obsessed and completely unaware of my impact on other people, and I didn't give about other people's energy. I didn't care what anybody thought about me, and I didn't really care what I thought about anybody. I was just maniacally kind of obsessed on trying to work and do something genuine and honest for myself in such a way that it would work out. So if I made myself successful and wealthy, like a man is supposed to do, in order to fit the archetype, then everything would be great. But pretty much exactly the opposite happened. The harder and harder I worked, the worse and worse things got. The more and more things I tried that were deeper and deeper to my natural gifted talents, the worse things got. So I ended up very confused and confounded. So you're not alone, people. I put it this way. I think one of the reasons I'm here doing this channel is because it's about helping people. It's about bringing light where there was darkness, shining light on the areas that lead to pain and confusion and loss and suffering because we're just ignorant, and we end up in deep pain wondering what's wrong with me, what's wrong with my life, what's wrong with my world. And through some bizarre connection, with synchronicity and synchrodipity, people end up at this channel and they get a mini reading or a full reading or whatever, and then we dive into it. And of course, really, I'm just operating as an instrument of the healing power of love. Yep. Sadly, the channel was destroyed by two lovely ladies who actually believed that I was a cult leader and I was doing despicable things with women and their money. And it's not true. But on the other hand, I was guilty until proven innocent, and I did everything to prove my innocence, but the people didn't care. And so here we are today. This is how Tarot Lumination is today. This is how it is. There's just a small bunch of us, and we hang out. I put up my little show. I just pray that YouTube sends out a few notifications, and we get a few viewers, and that's it. So I have been encouraged by people who love me and love the channel and love my work. They basically say, like, TL, just calm down. You can't fix everything. Whoever needs to be here will show up. Whoever doesn't need to be here, they will not show up. So don't worry about it. Yeah. Of course, being male and having been like a megalomaniac narcissist when I was a very young person, I would like to be able to control all the buttons and the knobs and the dials and make wonderful, amazing things happen. You know. But then that turns into self-aggrandizement. And it turns into literally the thing that I kind of loathe and despise, which is like grotesque manipulation and exploitation of humanity by creating these like cult secret structures which appear to be this way, but are in fact kind of demonic by nature. Ah! All right. Hello, Necessary Truth. Anyway, you know what? You know what I'm going to do? It's Sunday night. It's dark. It's very, very cold outside. I am going to play a little song. It's called I Surrender. I wrote this myself because in my youth I was into pop music and songwriting. It didn't quite work out, as you know, as you can tell. And I'm going to play this song, I Surrender, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to go get a bottle of red wine. I'm going to bring it in here with a glass, and I'm going to use that to sip while I do these readings. Okay? How is that for you? Let me find the song first of all, see if I can get it to work here. MP3. It's an MP3. Now this is in my computer, and I can. My poor computer. It's there. Okay, it's working. All right, so let's see if we can do this. How come it's not working? I just had it. Damn. Give me a second. Let me try this again. You'll just have to watch me as I persevere. Okay. Oh, how the body craves. Oh, there it is. Hold on. Hold on. I gotta reset everything. And then I'm going to just give me, I mean, it's only a short song, so just give me a few minutes. I'll be right back. Enjoy yourselves, settle down, get ready to witness the readings, and we'll go from there. Okie dokie. So, here we go. I surrender. Oh, how the body craves. Oh, how the heart it aches. Oh, how the soul knows all of this. Feels like you manifested me in ways that match perfectly, answering my own wish for sure. So many lifetimes in the making. This time round there is no faking, no mistaking. I surrender, I surrender. hands are held up high, my knees are on the ground. I surrender, I surrender. I hand myself over to the mystery of your sweet embrace. There's no going back, don't even have any maps to our new futures, there's only our next breath. We're so fully committed and so fully engaged, so courageous and fighters to the death, building bridges from your heart to my heart, forging bonds of honest structure, our new start. I surrender, I surrender. My hands are held up high, my knees are on the ground. I surrender, I surrender. I hand myself over to the mystery of your sweet embrace. There's no way around this, only way out is through. There's no way around this, open the door to bliss. Only way out is through, that's what we're gonna do, yeah. I surrender, I surrender. My hands are held up high, my knees are on the ground. I surrender, I surrender. I hand myself over to the mystery of your sweet embrace. I surrender. My hands are held up high, my knees are on the ground. I surrender, I surrender. I hand myself over to the mystery of your sweet embrace. Well, we did it. Wow, I managed to do the technical stuff there. All right, let's have a look here. First of all, we're going to go to the stage and get lined up here. First up is Elizabeth Boucher. I hope you're still here, Elizabeth. If you want, I will do a complete blind reading. I love doing those. That means you don't have to have any expectations about what you might hear or not. And then what happens, it's sort of like, it's like, hey dear heaven, hey dear universe, hey Terra Lumination, instrument of the healing power of love, conduit, whatever. Remember, all I am, that's all I am. All I'm doing is I'm in a messenger system, like a connection system between heaven and earth. That's sort of how my body works. It's been that way since all I know. It's a question of how do you deal with that? It's kind of a weird, let's say, birth profile. There's plenty of people like that, but a lot of times it's very hard for people to, carry it or feel it, or live with it authentically without coming really unglued in their personal lives. Well, actually, honestly, that's a good point. Actually, now I think about it. Okay? What I've noticed over the years is that there's all these different categories of human beings, but I've spent quite a long time in the esoteric arts, and I did deep diving, ultra advanced yoga and things like that. and I was exposed to a lot of fraud and crime and perversion, and I managed to survive and get through and come out alive on the other side, and so on and so on. And I've met a lot of like alternative healers, you know, Reiki, remote healing, hands-on healing, tarot, astrology. You could say it's a form of a healing art. It's by basically reveal it to heal it. The way I work here with this channel, it's a very kind of narrow aspect of what I do, but it's about, how do I say it? It's just like diagnostics. That's a huge part of what I do and how I like to do it. And so over the years I developed these little tarot spreads, which it's a very limited range of spreads, but it's all I need, it's all I want. I don't dick around. I've seen a lot of other tarot readers and how they do stuff, and that's fine. That's great for them. But I've got a little custom thing that we do here, and that works just fine. I don't want to mess with it. And so it might seem like a little repetitive to some people, but I only have like 4 spreads. I have my diagnostics, my situational spread. That's it. That's what we use here on Sunday Night Lives. I have my relationship spreads that I called my Crucible spread. I have my heart spread, which is about like the deep soul heart journey of your own personal evolution, all the way from the individual all the way up to the global, and so on and so on. And then what I have are what I call extensions of those 3. And that's really all I do. And it covers pretty much everything. The beauty about the situational spread is that it literally covers anything and everything. Health, finance, disease, family, friends, love, it doesn't matter what the subject is. It's just like a diagnostic. Just plug it in, and then you can go into deeper layers of readings and consultation from there. But for the Sunday Night Live show, we keep it light and simple and short and sweet. Okay, so all I do is I just use the situational spread. First up, Elizabeth. Elizabeth wants a blind reading. Thank you very much. It's a real privilege for me to do the blind readings, because that means we're just diving in. Okay. Anything, we're basically saying, dear universe, dear heaven, dear invisible friends, dear archangels, guardian angels, intern angels, please give me a glimpse or a message of what I need to know right now that is best for me, so I can reveal what needs to be revealed, so I can understand these things, so I can actually have a better chance of living my life. There you go. That's kind of what it is. All right. First up, here we are at the stage. We are now at the workshop. Tarot Lumination workshop. Sort of like Santa's workshop. I'm going to use the Universal Golden. I love this deck. I have lots of other decks, and I have Oracle decks and everything. But for the purposes of this show, I just keep it really simple. Deck is already well shuffled. Let's bless this deck. Let's bless every single card in the deck. Let's bless the platform, YouTube, Google, Super Chat, PayPal, and all the linkings and the mind-boggling codes and computer codes and softwares that are used to do all this stuff. All the broadcasting software that I have here, and the cameras and the lights and the wires and the internet and the connectors and the transmitters. I have a radio transmitter over there, like a extension and so on and so on. Let's bless all that stuff, because frankly it is miraculous, you know, at least the way I see it. It is. A lot of people just take it for granted. Oh, that's the internet. Oh, that's TV. Oh, that's global transactions. Oh, that's whatever. Fine, but really, it's kind of miraculous. One of the things that really blows me away, I have to be honest. Sorry, I've gone off on a tangent here a little bit. Just give me a second, okay, Elizabeth? One other thing that blows me away, I don't really practice it very frequently. It only happens like on an as-needed basis. which I used to do more frequently, where I was operating as a psychic medium. Necessary Truth understands that it's kind of an energy field, especially when you're dealing with people who've already passed over to the other side. And it's a really fun, kind of exciting way to operate as a, esoteric healer type person. But it never turned into a full-time thing. And the same thing with remote healing. It's very, very powerful stuff. And it's very real, and it really, really works. But it's so hard to quantify. It's so hard to justify or explain or monetize in such a way that it would be respected in the traditional world of medicine. It's on the remote healing and the psychic mediumship and all that stuff. It's on a whole other frequency of existence, which has almost no correlation to traditional medicine as we know it. But that stuff's out there, and I'm very lucky. I feel like I'm very, very, very lucky to be plugged into it. But in terms of day-to-day life, the way it works for me here personally on Earth is like I've had to distill everything, and it comes down into this thing that we have here, just tarot illumination, little mini readings and so on. The other stuff does happen, but it's only on an as-needed basis, and I don't have anything to do with it. It's all by divine guidance, divine timing, divine ordinance, okay? So, I'm just letting you know. All that stuff is out there. It's an amazing, wonderful thing. Necessary Truth knows a lot about that, because Necessary Truth is a remote viewer and a psychic medium herself. And actually, we've had a lot of healers on this channel over the years who are operating at these frequencies. That's just how it is. Anyway, I just wanted to clear that up, get that out there. Thank you very much. All right, Elizabeth, what kind of messages do we have here for you tonight? Coming to you from the great beyond, from your invisible friends, your personal invisible friends, your personal guides, your personal bodyguards, your loved ones from the great beyond, all of that. It's all out there. It's a very fluid world we live in when you tune into those frequencies. So let's have a look. All right, beautiful. Cards are well shuffled. Excuse me, ignore the drops. I'm going to keep shuffling. I don't do bouncing and flying and all that kind of stuff. I don't put any significance to it. It just makes me feel like, oh, I'm clumsy. Sorry about that. Occasionally it does happen where I do have to acknowledge a radical activity in the cards where they are literally out of my control. And then I have to think, well, what am I supposed to do now? Okay, and so we deal with it. But right now, everything's good. Here we go. We're just going to cut it up. This is the situational spread. This is what they use in the White House. No matter who the president is, they have a direct feed with tarot illumination, and it allows them to get a little live reading 24/7 whenever they need to, when things get really sticky with global politics. Here we go. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. Okay, Elizabeth, I hope you're kind of here and present, enjoying this. Now, I'm going to look at this energy here, and to me personally, this represents external energies and like surrounding influences, and I usually dedicate this to the planets at the moment, okay? Okay. We have the Page of Wands here. This is a very rich, noble, encouraging energy, and it feels very appropriate right now because there's a very strong Sagittarius feel in the heavens right now, and Mars is on the cusp of entering Sagittarius. It's going to be into the 0 and the 1 degree point very, very soon. And I think that's what this is referring to. And to me, this looks like a very optimistic, supportive kind of energy where if you just kind of like close your eyes for a second and allow yourself to just like disconnect from your body and just imagine that you're just floating in heaven, floating in the universe, and nothing can harm you. Nobody can harm you. Nobody and nothing can harm you. And then what do you do with that? And you start to realize, wow, I don't actually have to be so frightened of everyone and everything all the time. And when I realized that, wow, even though I might have been living a life where there have been so many constraints, I, Elizabeth Boucher, have a right and a privilege and a duty and obligation to give myself permission to live my life for me the way that is appropriate for me. The question is, what does that look like? The thing is, you would never know unless you realize that you have that right and almost that duty and privilege and obligation to live the life of your most sovereign self. It's kind of a wake-up call. Wow, it's just like, oh my gosh. So look at this as like sacred opportunity. Okay, remember, Elizabeth. Okay, right now the moon is over here in Aries, but just a few days ago we had that huge Sagittarius new moon eclipse over here. Very optimistic. I felt it as a very optimistic thing for the future, no matter about all these other challenges. Okay? Now, in terms of the sign, the moon is in Aries, the sun is in Sagittarius. So that's kind of a very optimistic alignment. So all I'm suggesting is like, think of this as a snapshot. Click right now. I'm Elizabeth Boucher, and I'm getting a glimpse into my life and my world through, hanging out with Tarot Lumination and everybody here. And it's basically sending you a signal like, hey, Elizabeth, you might want to take a look around you and realize that, no matter all the SHIT that you have endured, there is still a whole life ahead of you. Okay? There's a whole journey ahead. Okay? Something to look forward to. We don't want to waste any moment of our life on this planet. It's a sacred opportunity. Uh-oh, Melanie McCall's here. Got it. Okay, that's the last. I can't take any more readings after that. Thank you, Melanie. Hello, Jeffrey, by the way. I just saw that. So, Elizabeth, give me a moment here. A big orange thing flashed up on my screen here for the monitors. So I have to make a note before I get lost. Melanie McCall wants a mini reading. So we'll do that. Melanie, I hope you're patient because we're going to have 4 readings tonight. And that's about all I can handle anymore. Okay, but we'll get there. And we'll put this over here. Like so. So, no more readings. Thank you for your generosity. I really, really appreciate it. It really helps me keep my life going here. So, Elizabeth, excuse me. Whatever challenges you might have in your life right now, okay, fine. You've been dealing with decades of crippling challenges. How do you do that? Because you have an extremely powerful will to live. Extreme power in terms of the will to live. Most people would never have made it to where you are in life today, given what you have endured. Okay? So, this is a very comfortable, sweet, optimistic energy, and you might as well enjoy it. Let's have a look. What's the situation itself? Okay, so with the 5 of Pentacles here, you might be concerned about your deepest and closest, most personal relationships right now in terms of like, where do I stand? Where do I stand? Because with the 5 of Pentacles, it's very much associated with how are you allocating your time and energy with other people? How are you allowing other people to allocate their time and energy with you? Are you benefiting or are you losing? So for example, if you're starting to notice that you might have a history of relationships that deplete you, or if you have a history of being in situations where you end up at a loss because of you having chosen to love and trust someone, and then it backfires and betrays on you, and you can feel that as a physical loss in your life, like, wow, I got robbed, or somebody stole my energy, somebody stole my light, somebody took advantage of my value, okay? That's very important for you to understand and learn and know right now. So there's a very powerful message here. When I look at this in terms of diagnostics, situational spread, the situation is all about understanding like the deeper nature of relationships, where there is value in relationships. Some relationships are not only unvaluable, they're dangerous because they deplete you. They strip out the value, and then you end up realizing, oh my God, it's almost like they saw my innocence. They saw my strength. They saw my will to live. They want what I've got. So they associate with me, and I associate with them because I'm kind and free and open and pure and loving. And then you end up losing. Okay? This is no longer acceptable. You have a right and duty and obligation to do what is right for you. Even if it means like looking at relationships and going through, like if you could go through like a little book of relationships, like if you had a little book, here's all my relationships, and then you realize, oh God, that doesn't work, that one doesn't work, that one doesn't work, that one doesn't work, that has to go, that has to go, oh my God. And what are you left with? Like some people, like for yourself, Elizabeth, because you have an intense will to live, that's like a very powerful energy field, and some other people sense that, and they want what you have, because what you have is very, very valuable. It may not be easy to measure or to quantify in physical life, but I know from having worked with you before that what you have is very valuable. All right, now what's the problem here? Okay, so this is almost like an ego issue. It's almost like on the understanding that this is going to, honestly, Elizabeth, I feel like this is Tarot Illumination being very cruel to you in a reading, because whether you like it or know it or not, you're very powerful, you're very strong. And the question is what you do with that strength. And then the challenge is like, oh my God, I am supposed to live and endure all of this stuff, which would have been crushing or deadly, literally deadly, the death of other people. And yet I'm still here and alive to tell the tale. What am I supposed to do with that? Well, it's about spiritual evolution and about turning your journey into a, let's say, something that has spiritual value that perhaps maybe you can share with others, okay? Now, I don't know how that's going to work, but it's very, very hard for you. In other words, this is actually a very hard journey for you, because it means having to maintain your pride, your integrity, your sense of self-worth, your sense of belonging, your sense of the right to live, even though you've experienced so much hardship. And then what is the meaning of that? What is the purpose of that? Well, it is for you to grow, but also not only for you to grow, but to, so that's a personal journey, but it's for you to like ascend. So you get to the point where you realize like, yes, I have been damaged and screwed over, but that's not the end of me. In fact, I am above all that. They cannot touch my spirit. They cannot touch my soul. And that's very hard for the ego to accept, because the ego would want, naturally of course, massive retaliation, massive revenge, massive justice. But of course it's absolutely futile, because there's nothing to be had. There's no revenge to be had. There's no justice to be had. There's no accountability to be had. And so you left with this extreme frustration. But that's part of spiritual evolution. So how are we going to deal with this going forward? Okay. So we've got the Temperance card, a very powerful card of healing here. So the way to handle your situation is to understand that you are on a journey, a really powerful journey. Let's have a look at this, see if I can get it close up, about healing. And number one, heal thyself, of course, obviously. But in healing yourself, you end up becoming like a beacon of light and hope of healing for other people. Okay, I'm going to share something now. Elizabeth, I hope you don't mind. I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to do it. Dear viewers, dear people watching right now, I'm very lucky to have known Elizabeth for probably, 10 years or more. I can't remember now. It goes way back. We're good buddies. And I actually know her in person because she lives in Los Angeles and I used to live in Los Angeles. And we would go and visit. And I know because of the stories that she has shared with me that she has lived a life that no one would consciously volunteer to live. So much pain and suffering, perversion, destruction of soul, heart, energy, and so on. And yet Elizabeth is still here to tell the tale. Elizabeth, I hope you don't mind, but I want everyone to know here, even though we're just a tiny crowd here, Elizabeth is a writer, and she went through a very profound experience where she committed her story to a screenplay, like as though it would be translated into a movie. The nearest storyline I can suggest is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo trilogy. It's a story about extreme hyper abuse and how to overcome the legacy of extreme hyper abuse and come back to be your authentic self. And of course that's very hard to do. But Elizabeth is a living, live example of that person. There are all sorts of people across the internet who have these stories of betrayal, deception, and perversion, where the people tell these stories, and it's almost like I'm not going to knock them. Those stories need to be told. But when you're trying to turn yourself into a hero and exploit your damages, that's a different story. Elizabeth is not like that. Elizabeth is very pure at the heart and the center. And her storyline is still very active and live today. And she has committed a lot of time and energy to transcribing the story into something that you could call a book or a novel or a two-part novel. Okay? And it is a work in progress. She goes through phases of stopping and starting because every time you commit to writing the next chapter of the story, it brings up the nightmares and the horror of what happened. And then you have to relive it and transcribe that onto paper. And I've talked with Elizabeth before about maybe we should do a presentation where we have like an evening with Elizabeth. Something like that. Now, I like to do the live shows, but it might be very difficult to do that live because of the technology and the way I like to do the shows. So, I don't know, it's up to Elizabeth, but at some point, I would love to, maybe she's not interested. She's put something here, do not talk about, you know, okay. All I'm suggesting is that, I'm sorry Elizabeth if I've betrayed your confidence here, but there are people who need to know that there is hope. There are people who need to know that despite some of the despicable things that happen, there is hope, and there is a way to survive and grow above and beyond all these things. And what better than hearing the story from the survivor themselves? Okay? What's that? There's also something called a Me Too movement. And of course that includes like celebrities and pop stars or whatever who've had horror stories themselves. But there's everybody else too. I'm sorry if I put you in there, but Elizabeth, you're very good at, I would say, presentation. So I'm inviting you at any point in time, whenever you want to, if you want to have an evening here, and we'll record something together where you can maybe share a little bit of what's going on with you. You might be able to help some people. That would relate to the card there, the 8 tarot card, Anyway, let's go back to the reading. Okay, let's wrap this up. So the way to proceed, okay, the way to handle it is understand that it's all about healing. In healing yourself, you heal others. When you shine as an example of healing, when you shine as an example of the will to live and the desire to survive despite the betrayals, then it gives other people hope. It gives other people who have been victims hope and a glimpse of like, oh my God, there is possibility. Okay? Okay, I see your notes there, Elizabeth. Whenever you're ready, just check in, okay? There's absolutely no rush here at all. But I felt obliged to share with people on the show tonight that Elizabeth is a survivor. She has an incredibly powerful will to live. And it all has to be recalibrated every day. And that is a lot of work for anybody, any soul. You deserve a medal, frankly, Elizabeth, but I'm just going to raise my glass to you. Thank you for reaching out and letting me give a reading to you. Kimber, you're up next. Let's have a look here. I'm just going to shuffle up the cards. Give me a few minutes. I want to put on a little bit of music. That will allow me to get something ready for you. And let's have a look. Here we go. Kimber, here we go. This one's for you. All right. Cheers. Wow, this glass is almost empty. Let's keep going. We're fine. We'll make it. We'll survive. Okay, Kimber, Unless I have instructions otherwise, I will give you a blind reading. And all that will do is it's kind of just like opening the window to life, like, and having a sniff, looking outside, pulling back the curtains like, hey, what's going on out there? We need a reference point. We need to get clued in. And like I said, with the situational spread, it's really just about like identifying things the way they are at this literally moment in time. Because remember, with the astrology, it's always a moment in time. This energy here, as depicted on my astrodoodle, has already shifted. The moon has already moved from here to here. Mars has already moved from here to here. Venus has moved from here to here, and so on. Sun and Mercury have just moved from here to here, and so on. And it's a perpetual dance, okay? Until the end of our solar system, when everything implodes in a big, fat, whatever they call it, nebula, something or other, I don't know. Of course, by that time, humanity won't exist anyway, so it kind of doesn't matter. All right, so again, it's the same thing. What messages do we have here tonight for Kimber? Let's invite her own personal invisible friends, her own archangels and connections, and her own guardian angels, and all of that. Let's make sure that they're here. I'm just going to give a tiny little bit more shuffle because I feel the need. All right, just to get things really super clean, super clear, and then we'll go from there, okay? I'm glad you're patient, Melanie. I see that in the notes. You're a patient person, no worries. Thank you so much. Oh, I saw that thing from Jeffrey. I see that. Hello, I'm in Texas visiting your dad. Wow. Wow, Jeffrey, you do get around. All right, Kimber, let's have a look. What's going on here? I'm just going to cut it up in a very classic, traditional, even manner. Okay? Take things gently here. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. And of course, I'm just jumping in with a blind reading because I haven't seen anything on the screen, and I'm not expecting to see anything on the screen, so let's not worry about it. And over here, let's have a look. I'm going to attribute this to the planets. I just bent the card. Oh my God, that's not good. That's very rare. Most of my decks are like, they're pristine. I mean, I've done thousands of readings for people, but most of my decks are still more or less like brand new. I don't understand that. Because it's a lot of, they take a lot of knocks, okay? All right, Kimber, here we go. So the Queen of Pentacles here. Oh, I'm very happy to see this for you. What this tells me is that it's important that whenever you get a chance to look around at your life and your world, it's to understand that it's like, okay, with the Queen of Pentacles energy, it's to understand it's not like you were born with this, spoon-fed, or like a silver spoon kind of thing, or like just robbed and stole assets and value. The Queen of Pentacles represents an energy of, let's say, a very long journey of rising to the ranks of Queen energy through whatever avenues in life that happen, through efforts, relationships, expenditure of energy. How do you expend energy? How do you, let's say, express your gifts, your talents, and your resources? And so with the Queen of Pentacles here, to me this looks like it's a really good time right now to examine your life from a different perspective that you might not have ever sort of thought about or looked at before, where it's about self-worth. about, like, who am I really? What am I doing here? Why am I here? What is my purpose? What are my values? What is the value that I have and that I carry? What are my resources? And then ultimately, what am I supposed to do with all that? The Queen of Pentacles is a very, very, let's say, conscientious, loving, caring custodian of value and values, of money and stuff and things, not to be squandered. This is an energy that cannot and must not be squandered. In fact, just the opposite. It's a question of how am I supposed to make the very, very best of all the natural talents and gifts and abundance that I have at hand, at my disposal. Whether it's incidental because it's out there and I have access, or whether it's because I've earned it and I am the custodian. Either way, you are the custodian. So you end up in this position of like, wow, I have to look at my world from a more lofty position. I have to look at my world as like, wow, I am a custodian of assets, of value and values. And so what does that look like going forward? Here's the situation. Okay, so the Three of Swords. Don't be scared. A lot of people are terrified of this card. So remember, it's not a Cups card with hearts and emotions and things like that. It is actually a Swords card. So it's intellectual. It's happening in the mind. So if you're in a situation right now where deep inside okay, let me go back, sorry, before we do anything else. Remember, when I'm doing these readings, it's diagnostic. This is my situational spread. The whole idea with the situational spread is to reveal it so that we can heal it. So, just imagine it's like going into a car dealer, not a car dealer, but an auto mechanic, and telling them, like, I have to admit it, honestly, there's just something out of whack. I don't know what it is exactly. Something feels wrong with the car. Can you help? And so the auto tech goes and says, okay, well, we'll just plug it into the diagnostics and see what happens. And that's what they do. They have these very expensive box gadgets, and they plug it in to the car computer, and they can figure out from there what the problem is. And that's really all this reading is doing. So what's happening in this reading tonight, right now, is that the diagnostics are revealing that deep down inside you're carrying a lot of pain regarding some kind of betrayal or suffering or neglect or damage or hurt that has probably been happening over a very long period of time. This looks to me like an extremely old wound that has never really truly healed. And in this reading here tonight, however uncomfortable it is, it's an indication that it's important to acknowledge that, through life we end up being wounded, betrayed, undermined, screwed over, and damaged, typically by somebody or something else that is not you. Okay, this is definitely not your energy. This is something that you are having to live with and having to experience. And instead of, what I talk about all the time is you got to reveal it to heal it. And so with the Three of Swords here, it might be an indication it's time to look at your life and your world and understand and start examining the things that correlate to really, really deep pain and suffering. Like, wow, if I'm honest, like, so-and-so betrayed me, so-and-so screwed me over, I feel lost, unloved, all of those things, underappreciated, actually screwed over, betrayed by certain others, perhaps even significant others. And rather than pretending that everything's okay, it might be an idea to acknowledge the pain that goes with betrayal, the pain that goes with being screwed over, okay, in some way or other, being, I don't know, taken advantage of or being undermined. Got to reveal it to heal it. Okay, so this doesn't have to be crushing pain. All right, this is just revealing to heal it. So pretend I'm the guy at the auto tech and my little box is showing, oh man, yeah, you see what we got here? We got this thing here. We got to fix, we got to look at this because this is where the problem is. Okay, so let's have a look. What's the challenges here? Okay, my feeling is that deep down at some level there's extreme high expectations about the quality and the integrity in terms of relationships, okay, love and relationships, about what could be and about what should be as opposed to what is actually happening. So that looks like a severe, like a really extreme disparity between, let's say, divinity, between the purity and innocence of loving and being loved, where all you've ever wanted is to be loving and to be loved, and then realizing like, oh my God, it actually hasn't quite worked out that way. It's almost like just the opposite. Damn. So with, see, the thing about the Two of Cups energy is that it's very sweet, it's very innocent, it's extremely vulnerable, it's extremely, let's say, what's the word? Open to abuse and exploitation by anyone and anything who is not operating on the level of the highest and purest exchange of love. And I'm not talking about sex or lust or anything. I'm just talking about pure love. Being loving and being loved. Be loving, be loved. I talk about that on the channel all the time. And yet, where is that? Where the fuck is that? What happens when you are loving, but you are not loved? It's not reciprocal. So why is my camera not picking? I want to pick that up. I want to have a very pure picture here. Let me see if I can get it. Give me a second, Kimber, okay? I don't know why the camera is not picking it up. It's very hazy. Doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sorry, I tried. So how are we going to proceed from here? Okay. Well, this makes sense to me with the Five of Cups here. It's incredibly important to acknowledge and recognize the energy of grief. In other words, if deep down you are grieving, but you are in denial, then that's not helping you. All that's happening is that you're recycling and recirculating the same wound over and over and over and over again. And it looks like with this reading, it is time to kind of recalibrate your value and your value system in such a way where you acknowledge, like, wow, I've really been fucked over. I have truly and utterly been screwed over. No matter that I am actually a living example of being loving on the understanding that be loving, be loved. And yet, this is how things are. So it could feel like the energy of ultimate betrayal, ultimate disrespect, ultimate like exploitation. And so if you continue to live a life where you deny all of this, all that's happening is you are like slapping more and more and more and more bandages on top of a wound that needs to heal. The only way you can heal it is you have to reveal it. So it's like when you go to Okay, sorry, excuse me. I had a like an image there, but that I wanted to share with you. Give me a second, okay? So with the Five of Cups here, the way to proceed is to not just intellectually open up to the theoretical understanding that you've been screwed over, even though you've been loving. It's to actually feel it. And of course, that's what nobody wants to do. Nobody ever wants to feel this energy. Nobody wants to deal with this energy because it can potentially be so painful. And yet, in dealing with it, in allowing the pain of betrayal and suffering to flow, it can be like a purging. In other words, it's almost like you get to... Sorry, I'm just going to do this in person now. This gets kind of serious. Like, you almost get to this point like there's no point in expecting any kind of rational balance here. There's no point in expecting or believing that somehow everything's going to work out miraculously. So long as I am loving, I know I'm going to be loved. But there's like this roadblock, because it's like it's so hard for people to live through the energy field of grief and pain and sorrow, that they avoid it. And so they kind of like distract themselves, or they intellectualize their way around it, or they discuss it. But it's never actually part of a healing. And so then healing can never happen, because it's never actually, like, the energy is never allowed to flow through. And the energy is very painful. And so what the reading is telling me, as a blind reading, just completely out of the blue, it's saying that there's almost like a purging that is required here, where it's like you give up any kind of hope or expectation of any kind of equilibrium or balance that would normally be due in a very pure, natural, loving, beloving kind of situation. And in the end, you just deal with the reality. The reality is that there is a severe imbalance, and for whatever reason, allowing it to happen or bringing it on, or it just being pushed on you, there is betrayal and exploitation. And what do you do from there going forward? So, like with the Five of Cups, it's almost like a very humbling energy. It's almost like, let's say you're hanging out with a really good friend who's really, really suffering. And you come up to them and you put your arm around their shoulder and say, it's okay, just let it all out, just let it all out. And your dear friend starts crying and blubbering and everything, and all their horror stories just come out in a blubbery mess. And then you comfort them and say, it's okay, you're going to be fine, I'm here, life goes on, you're going to be okay. But that's what needs to happen with you to yourself, where you give yourself permission to go, oh my God. And then you kind of have to it's almost like you have to comfort yourself through the process of grieving. And then you get to that point where, wow, there's certain things you can't heal. There's certain things you can't fix. And certain things are just going to keep going the way they are. But it doesn't have to trigger grief or betrayal anymore. It's just on the understanding like that might be a certain hallmark of your existence. But it's almost like when you get to the point where you can allow yourself to grieve, it's almost like the energy is now allowed to move through you and out of you. And then you don't carry it so much anymore. It doesn't mean, I'm sorry, this is going to sound horrible. It doesn't mean that there will be no more continuation of whatever pain and suffering comes to you, because so long as we're alive, we are receiving some kind of pain and suffering. All it means is that you understand it and you can accept it and you can let it flow through you. In other words, if you feel pain and suffering, it's almost like the best thing you could do is to really cry. It's just cry it out. And comfort yourself. Allow yourself to cry. Some people can't do that. They're terrified of crying. It's the most terrifying experience to a lot of people because it brings up all these things that they don't want to talk about or think about or feel or deal with. But again, you've got to reveal it to heal it. You don't want to be stuck in a perpetual thing of tears. Like there's a lady in this neighborhood somewhere. She puts up flowers every few days on the street corner over here for the dead person in her life who probably got shot or run over on the corner. And so there's all these little candles and flowers. And I've seen her there a few times. And I understand her in that way, but it's almost like she's perpetuating the grief and the sorrow and the tragedy. And it doesn't have to be that way. We can forgive and forget and move on. There's always going to be tragedy, betrayal, sorrow, and suffering somewhere, somehow. And the question is, how do you deal with it? Rather than letting it accumulate, it might be better to just deal with it in the moment. And that will allow you to kind of get back to your core nature, like the Queen of Pentacles energy, where you realize, like, wow, how am I actually expending my energy? How am I allowing others to exploit my energy and gifts and talents? How am I going to hold on to that? How am I going to maintain my dignity, my structure, my sovereign self going forward in life? Well, my feeling is that the reading has a story here. The way to go, the way forward is to allow some of these painful energies to move through, and that would be like an emotional flow. Okay, a lot of people can't do that. They don't want to do that. It's perfectly understandable. And you don't have to. I'm not telling you to do that. All I'm suggesting is it might be beneficial. Okay, so there you go. I hope that helps. Next up, Tina. Let's have a look. All right, Tina. You know what, Tina? I am going to do what I did earlier. I'm going to play a little bit of music, and I'm going to fill up this glass. Then we're going to come to your reading. Because I didn't realize that my glass was so empty until a little while ago. All right. So we're going to read for Tina in a few moments, and then after Tina, we're going to read for Melanie. I see that Tina just put up a few notes. Hold on, let me have a look here. Tilo, I want to look at the outcome of January with the house sale, closing of the new house, and surgery on my knee going smoothly. Question mark. I understand. Okay, understandable. Okay, we could do that. Oh, look. There's a message there from Melanie, like, wow, I cried 3 times this weekend. And you are laughing to tell the story. So, Melanie, to me, that indicates you have a very powerful self-healing mechanism, and that you might be an expert on allowing very painful emotional energies to flow through you in such a way that you are not crippled by whatever it is that caused you to cry. So, Melanie, if you have any messages for Kimber, please share, okay? Because Kimber might have just the opposite kind of energy. Let's have a look here. Give me a second. I'm going to find a little piece of... I just want to find something that gives me a moment of time where I can go and refill my glass. Okay, so here we go. So here we are, back in business, just like I promised. Tina, you're up. Now, excuse me, I'm going to read your notes again, because it just popped up on the screen here in the chat. It says here, I want to look at the outcome of January. Will the house sale close? With the house sale, closing of the new house, and surgery on my knee go smoothly? Well, of course it's going to go smoothly. Let's have a look. I see more notes here. Hello, Robin. Good evening. Good night. Very late for you. Tina Miller. Another interesting fact. Helena puts my sun sign on my ascendant, but also the Saturn Imamkoli line is there too. In time for my second Saturn return. Da 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 da. Drama. It's like, it's almost like sort of moving around in life. It's like, you know, in those old-fashioned theaters where they, you know, I used to love that stuff when I was a kid. I would do plays, and I would write plays, and I would write little stories, and I would have puppet shows, and I had built a stage and everything. And then you would have to call timeout. Okay, end of scene 1. Click. And then the curtains would close. And then you'd rebuild the whole backdrop. Because on scene 2, it happens with a completely new backdrop. So that's kind of what I'm sensing here, Tina, is that you're living a life which is like deeply synchronized with what I would call like artistry, okay? Like the art of life, the art of living, where you in your own way are a living example of someone who's like deeply in tune with the journey of life. And you realize, okay, yeah, I've been through huge radical changes over the last year and a half. And other people might think I'm totally insane because why the bleep did you do this to get to there and then you do that? On the other hand, my perspective is that you are totally in the flow. You are so totally in the flow that you can like teach others and guide others. But you don't have to. It's much more important that you just live your life. Because what is best for Tina Miller is best for anyone and everything that happens around you. So some of you might realize that or understand, maybe not, okay. But Tina is migrating from Houston to Helena, Montana. Can you imagine that? Going from, I'll show you. Here's one of my maps. Oh, I love doing this stuff. Thank you very much for listening to me, by the way. So here is Houston. It gets very, very hot and gets very humid, and pretty much every year, just like Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Pensacola, and over here, they get slammed by hurricanes, massive deluge hurricanes. So eventually you get hit, and all that stuff moves over here. And for many different reasons, Tina realized this isn't working for me. So she figured out a new plan. What would work for me? And guess what? It's like a migration. It's going up from here. It's like she lived a life up to a certain point. Then life took her over to, I believe it was New Mexico. And then moving from New Mexico to here. And now, in a very short turnaround, it's like having, like in a Shakespearean play, sometimes the scenes are very long and intense, and then sometimes you'll get a scene that's very short and sequential. It's more like a connecting scene. It gets you from here to here. And so the backdrop of life, the scenery, the whole new environment of life is now shifting from here to here. Let's have a look, see if we can find Helena. Look, there's Helena right there. Beep. Can you imagine anything so different from Houston to Helena? Like right now, Helena, Montana is probably like in 20 degrees, Arctic weather. Over here, it's probably like cool and wet. quite a difference. On the other hand, it looks to be like a benevolent and healthy shift. Let's have a look. Hi, Robin. I see you. Time for it's almost like Tina. It's almost like you're setting yourself up. You're preparing your own scenery as if you're living your life through a Shakespearean play, and you've got the script in front of you, and you're looking. Oh wow. Okay. I got to read the script here. Okay. Oh, we're going into the next scene, and this next scene is all about my second Saturn return. Okay. We need a completely different environment backdrop. It's going to look like this. Bingo. All right, let's shuffle it up. I should have done the shuffling while I was getting that beverage, but I really didn't do enough. So I'm just going to do some more now, okay? I did a little bit, but not enough. Hello, Frittily the Nobody. Hey, you're here. Frittily, I know you've been through a lot too. Oh my God. Oh my God. Most of you here have been through so much pain and suffering. I can't freaking understand how you handle it, honestly. Frittily, Robin, Tina, Elizabeth, Melanie, probably even Ivona and Heather. All of you, each in your... Claire, I don't know you, Claire. Hi, Claire. Thank you. Vasktech. I don't know what that means, but hello, Claire. All right, let's just keep shuffling, and then we're going to do your reading. Okay, here we go. Thank you again, Tina, for all your support over the years. I feel like... It's just like... I'm so proud to be part of your life in this little, very, very... shishi boutique-y kind of way off to the side, you know? Like, I have my little thing, like 5 days a week. Okay, Tina, this is how it feels to me. 5 days a week, I like to take my bicycle and go down to the local McDonald's on the corner, and I get myself a little cup of black coffee. I don't care what anybody says about McDonald's, but I really like their little cups of black coffee. And it's a huge treat for me. And then I go off and spend an hour at the library close by where it is very serene and peaceful. And that is a blissful thing for me. And it's almost like that's what I feel is that kind of you're doing for yourself. You're treating yourself to a life where it's almost like, you know, it's time for me to have what TL just talked about. I want my special little thing. I want my special air, right? So that it's just right for me. Because what is good and right for you, Tina, is what's best for the universe and the world and the people around you. It's the best thing you can do. So that's what we're doing here. Oh, what's that? Robin is saying Frittily is happy that... hi, Frittily. Happy... Oh, okay. So what Robin is saying, by the way, everybody, in case you don't know, Robin is actually a reader herself. Okay? Hello, Robin. I don't know how you know that, but Frittily is actually doing readings. So if anyone's interested, you can connect with Frittily. If anybody wants to connect with Frittily directly for a reading, just get in touch with me. Or Frittily, if you want to, type in all your details in the chat and I'll make sure it shows up on the screen. And if you want to get alternative side readings, different like perspectives, Frittily is pretty awesome at this stuff. I'm not trying to hurt you, Robin, because you're actually pretty awesome too. All right, let's have a look. Let's see what's going on. All right, Tina? Let's have a look here. Now, the cards are well shuffled, but I need to feel like super, super comfortable. So there we go. Okay, that's it. That's good. That's good. We're good. We're good. Let's go. Let's have it. I'm going to do another very even, kind of gentle cut tonight. I'm enjoying the sublime nature of the readings tonight. Here we go. Here's the situation. Here's the challenge. Here's how we're going to handle it. Again, this is just same old Tarot Lumination situational spread. And we're going to relate this to the planets. We have 13. This is the Death card. It's deep, profound change and transformation. It looks like, Tina, you're absolutely in the thick of it. And to me, it almost feels like this is something that you've wanted for a long time, something that you deserve, and something at which you will excel. Okay, now I don't know the exact details of your future. For all you know, you'll end up in LINA and realize, oh, what was I thinking? On the other hand, you might think, oh my God, I have arrived. But for that to happen, it means having to go through this epic, almost like, I don't know if it's painful, but epic journey of birth, procreation, and death. Like life chapters, what I call lifestyle package deals, where you move forward in life knowing that as you move into the next chapter in life, the other chapter is dead and gone. It is history. Yes, it could be documented in books or like a screenplay or like a Shakespeare play, but essentially it's over. On planet Earth, we have this phenomenon called time. It is relentless, and you cannot stop it or fight it. So what my feeling here with the Death card is that, to me, this is a really strong affirmation that you're in the right place at the right time for the right reasons, with the right people. Okay? Transformation. Deep, deep, profound transformation. Just a wipeout of the old and hello to the new. And there's absolutely no point in trying to hold on to anything that might correlate to what you would call the past, because it's essentially irrelevant. It's a really weird, creepy, sorry thing to admit sometimes, like, wow, this person, this place, this experience, this expectation, this way of being is now completely and utterly redundant. It is expired. It has no meaning, no purpose, no value. And that can be absolutely terrifying for people, especially if you are deeply vested in what used to be. But this is a very plutonic, scorpionic energy, and it's all about moving forward on the understanding that there is a birth and a procreation and a death, and it is cyclical, over and over again. I call them lifestyle package deals. So to me, this is very encouraging. It might be a little bit scary, but it's very encouraging. To me, it feels like you are in the right place at the right time for the right reasons. Profound transformation. Again, that means going deep into the unknown, which can be terrifying itself. And that's why this card can be so terrifying for so many people, because they are not willing to go through the process of transformation. That is the chrysalis, where you enter life as one being. You go into the chrysalis, you transform, and you come out as a new being. The caterpillar, the chrysalis, the butterfly. Okay, what's the situation? Oh, okay, so we've got the Queen of Cups here. My feeling is that this is about time. It's overdue. And to me, it feels like it's all about you putting yourself at the center of your world and your existence, but not in like an megalomaniac, narcissistic manner, but understanding that you have a right and a duty and obligation to be the queen of you, to be the queen of your life, to be Queen Tina Miller. And then the question is, what am I going to do with that? What does that look like? How does that feel to me? You've got to do what feels good, what feels right. And so to me, it feels like there's a deep, like emotional current going forward. Like the situation right now is, it's kind of like realizing like, wow, this is really important, but I'm not allowed to default to whatever habits or practices I'm used to in my so-called previous lifestyle package deals. We're looking forward now into a whole new thing, a whole new pile of question marks like, wow, what am I going to do now with all my healing power of love? It's a huge, fat, abundant cup of love. And frankly, I feel that you're the one who deserves it the most. It's time to nurture yourself and treat yourself in the classic Tarot Lumination way. Be loving, be loved. And don't be shy about looking in the mirror like, wow, that's me. That's me we're talking about. Does that make sense, Tina? It's almost like I'm not female. But with that energy there, it feels to me it's just like, there's you living your life, and then now you're getting a tarot reading from Tarot Lumination, and the message is like, seriously, TL? What are you saying? Like, love thyself? But we're taking it to the next level here, where it's like you wake up in the morning, you realize, you know what? I don't actually have to jump out of bed right now for this person or this obligation or this activity, even though I'm programmed because of previous lifestyle package deals. I could actually sleep in for another 10, 20 minutes if I wanted to. It's not the end of the world. I'm the queen of my life now. Who's going to stop me? There's no reason why I'm not going to allow anyone to stop me. I deserve to pamper myself. That's how I look at it. And then it puts you in a position where like I have to completely recalibrate how I absorb and radiate the healing power of love. It's a completely new storyline. It's a completely new lifestyle package deal. But you're much more in the center stage where it's not about self-sacrifice. It's not about complete diminishment of self on behalf of others. It's now about acknowledgement of yourself to be like, I mean, it sounds ridiculous, like be Queen Tina Miller. I am Queen Tina Miller. What is good for me and right for me right now? Because I know, because TL said so, that's what's best for the people around me and the rest of the universe. Thank you very much. And so that's what you do. Okay? All right. So, let's have a look. Cheers, by the way. Thank you again, Tina. And what's the problem with this? Oh, well, of course, we should have expected this. With the Seven of Pentacles here, the problem is, it's almost like, to me it feels like when I was talking about a brand new lifestyle package deal over here, where basically everything and anything else before is going to become redundant, and it just goes into the history books of Tina Miller and your life. And so you have a new life, you know, surgery, knees, new location, world, and all that. And how are you going to heal yourself? The way you heal yourself is you grant yourself permission to radiate the energy of Queen Tina Miller with no apologies. So then you get back to the situation like, well, it's just me here. I'm on my own. Like, wow, maybe I'm up in Helena, Montana and all of that stuff. And then when I am on my own and I forgot everything that Tarot Illumination was talking about here, and I look in the mirror and I realize, man, I still have a bunch of stuff that needs to be sorted out in my life. I have to realize that I still have a rich and abundant life ahead of me, but how exactly is that going to look going forward into the future? Because the reality is, moving into this new lifestyle package deal from previous lifestyle package deal is like it or not, you're still carrying some remnants and some baggage and some leftovers with you that really need to be discarded. Okay? Now, discarding the past can feel very painful because it's like rummaging through your boxes, your luggage, your all your sentimental things and stuff. There's the new world around you, the Seven of Pentacles, all the things that contain and hold new value and richness and abundance. But it's like, how can you access that or enjoy that when you are so encumbered by the past and all the, let's say, detritus of the past? And it's very, very hard for people to do that. It's almost like looking at yourself and realizing, oh my God, I'm going to have to filter through everything in my life, and this box, this container, this whatever it is, I'm going to take it over to a thrift store. I honestly don't need it anymore. I don't want it, and it has great value sentimentally, but it's redundant. Right now it's redundant. So it's like the real challenge is, let's say you settle into this new life, this new world, and you get your surgery and that works out, and the deal closes, the house, and you have this whole new life, new world, new lifestyle package deal, and then you're left with this thing oh my God. It often happens when people move. They end up with a pile of boxes and stuff and things that are very symbolic of the past and that are essentially now redundant and irrelevant. And yet it's so very hard to let go because that's everything that you have known. But the reality is, what this card is saying is that what counts is the Pentacles, the new value, the new life, the new world here where it's almost like you're creating and building a new world. And the last thing that you need is baggage. You don't need baggage. And so it's almost like, oh my God, sounds really weird, but people are deeply attached to their baggage. And they don't want to let go because they identify with their baggage. But with the Death card here, it's like time is relentless. It's time to let go of the baggage and move on. Strip out and remove anything and everything that is irrelevant to the new life and get down to the very, very core essentials. It's almost like doing a remodeling, just get rid of all the crap and remodel, restart, and scratch from new. Create new value systems and all that. Okay, so how are we going to go forward from here? Yes. Okay, so we got the Two of Wands. Okay, so it feels to me like this is really, really supportive energy about giving you a tremendous sense of freedom to chart out and plan out a new life where all the previous lifestyle package deals that I talked about here, which you know intimately, but I don't know intimately, but you know them, all of that is eventually, you're going to have to go through the painful process of discarding, of a cleanup campaign, dumping things into thrift stores, get rid of stuff, sell this online, whatever it is, to get back to the absolute core essentials. All you need are the core, most valuable essentials. And then you can start planning. You can actually really, really start planning for the future. What does that look like? This is still very new energy. But it's exciting. To me, this looks exciting and very new. It's just like, oh my God. The way to go forward with all of this is understand wow, I have really, truly outgrown myself. And now I'm going into a whole new chapter where I don't have any parameters from the past anymore because I threw them all away. I don't have to live according to, conditioning or expectations from the past. I can literally chart out and map out a new future that could almost feel terrifying, but it's also really exciting. I'm actually very happy for you, Tina. I really do hope this works out in such the way that I feel it here. Thank you very much. Go, Tina. Seriously, go, Tina. Yeah. All right. Whew. All right. Yeah. Go, Tina. This is seriously a Go, Tina reading. It's not easy. There's a lot of work to do. But yeah, it's like offloading tons of baggage. And you're only left with what really counts. And then like, okay, now I can start making plans. But you can't make plans until you've done the purge, okay? Yeah. Okay. All right, Melanie, you're up. Here we go. Sip of wine. Thank you very much. Let's clear this deck and start from scratch. Melanie, I hope you're still there. You told me that you're very patient. I hope you still are. Let's have a look here. Hey Lorraine, I just saw your note there. I want to be a minimalist. I understand you. I can relate. So another thing, hey Lorraine, I hope you don't mind me sharing, but it often happens on this channel, on these shows, on these readings, where somebody books a reading. They get their reading, and then there's someone else completely different who says like, wow, that could have been my reading for me. So in a way, that's kind of like one of the advantages of this channel. It has value above and beyond the actual person in the on getting the reading at that moment in time. It really does happen. We've had that on this show quite a lot, where someone will write in on the chat. They'll say like, "Wow, that could apply to me." Hey, Robin, it looks like you're saying good night. Okay. Take care, Robin. Check in. See you next week. Okay. Melanie wants a blind reading. I see it on the chat. Thank you very much. Thank you. Lorraine, seriously, let's move. I see your notes there, Lorraine. Let's go to next week, okay? I won't be able to do much more tonight. I've really had to really restrict things because of my hands, my energy, and the way things are working for me in my life right now. I love doing this. I remember when we used to do 4-hour shows and I would do 6 or 7 or 8 readings. I can't do it anymore, okay? All right, so Lorraine, next week, okay? You and me, okay? You and me next week, okay, Lorraine? No worries. If you don't show, I'm not going to hold you to that. But anyway, I don't really want to read any more after Melanie tonight. It's a bit too much for me. But I thank you for your interest. So let's bump it to next week. No problem. It'll be a whole new vibe, new energy, a whole new astrodoodle, the lunar implications, all of that stuff. We're getting closer and closer to the full moon. Aw, thank you, Lorraine. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Cards are getting very nicely clean and cleared and shuffled. I just want to keep going a little bit more. Then we're good. Let's have a look here. All right, so Melanie, we're doing a complete blind reading. All right, so dear invisible friends, especially Melanie's own invisible friends, spirit guides, guardian angels, interns, all of that stuff. Let's invite you in. You're probably already here, already lined up, ready to go. Fine. What kind of messages do we have here tonight for Melanie? Okay. I'm just an instrument. TL here, Terra Lumination. That's me. I'm just an instrument for the healing power of love. All I'm asking is that I can be an effective conduit for the healing power of love. The messages as through the world of communications. Okay? I was just thinking about my own astrology chart. Depending on how you look at it, I have a really, really profound obsessive aspect regarding her third house Gemini aspects of profound life-changing communications. Maybe that's what we're kind of doing here, and maybe I'm doing everything I can to live up to my calling, so to speak. I really do try my best. I wish I could do more, but there's only so much I can handle at any one time. Let's see. Okay, here we go, Melanie. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. All right, let's just do that. I want to get things nice and sweet. Okay, so I'm going to, again, like I always do, I'm going to associate this with external influences. In particularly, I like to blame the planets, as you know. So here we go. The Justice card. Okay. So, with the Justice card here, this is like a really powerful, but very kind of neutral energy. Let me show you again. Come on, cameras. Come on, technology. Do your thing, please. I want Melanie to have a really good, crystal clear view. Let me try again here with the lights. I don't know. I don't know why it's not locking in on really perfect, crystal clear accuracy. Is it me? Is it the camera? Is it the lights? Honestly, I put a lot of pressure on my technology. I expect so much. But anyway, we have here the Justice card. And right now, the way this is going to come out for me, Melanie, out of my voice, it's like everything is exactly as it should be. Okay? Why is that so? It's because it can't be any other way. In terms of Newtonian physics, or, the physics of day-to-day life here on planet Earth, things are the way they are. Everything is exactly as it should be. All the evil and all the squalor and perversion and most terrifying, hideous things that are happening here on planet Earth right now are exactly as they should be. It's not pretty, but that's how it is. All the beautiful, wonderful, amazing things about life on planet Earth right now for human beings are also perfect. They are exactly as they should be. Everything is in perfect balance, okay? It's in perfect balance. So for you, my feeling here is that in a way this might be an awful lot of pressure for you to handle right now from this reading, but the message is that no matter how bad things are for you, Melanie, it's perfect. If there are so many bad things where you cried 3 times on the weekend, there's a reason. And that reason is to do with your own personal evolution. You've got to reveal it to heal it. So whatever it is, or whatever it was that triggered so much pain inside of you where you ended up crying, most people will do anything to avoid crying. they will distract themselves, get drugs, go out, party, do some kind of activity to put off that horrible thing of crying, because crying is actually the process of letting the pain come completely and utterly to the surface and feeling it in your body for all its pain to the point where you are crying. And the phenomenon of crying for most people is very painful. On the other hand, it's one of the most healing phenomenons that exist. The process of crying is actually a God-given gift to help us to heal. It allows the emotional energies of all the pain that you endured to come to the surface, culminate in a biochemical reaction and a physiological experience that we call crying. And it's like a massive purge. And at the end of it, there is a healing, okay? There is truly a healing. And so with the Justice card here, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. In other words, whatever pain you're suffering, so be it. It is yours to suffer, and you will suffer, and you are suffering accordingly. But that's not the whole story, because the flip side of the story is that whatever joy is yours is well deserved. Okay? We might not be talking about it in this reading, this card right now, but everything is perfectly in harmony and perfectly balanced according to universal law, according to the laws of nature, according to the laws of physics, not according to the laws and arbitrations of people who make up people laws to suit themselves. We're talking about universal laws, universal truth, universal justice, universal harmony, universal balance. So whatever pain you dealt with over that weekend where you were ending up crying 3 times, that's actually part of your healing and growth and evolution. What's the situation itself? Look at this. 5 of Cups. So to me, this is almost like an amplification and like a really loud message. Whoa, boom, 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 Melanie. It's like, it's so important for your own welfare, your own life, your own existence to acknowledge the energy of grief. Number 1, acknowledge the energy of grief, admit that it's there, and then 2, allow the energy of grief to move through you, which is what you're doing, and then to understand that it's not the end of the world. There is life beyond the grief and the tragedy. For example, everyone who is alive right now is going to experience the grief and the sorrow of losing a loved one. It's just a fact, okay? But that's not the end of the world. Life will move on. Loving and being loved still exists. But a lot of people have tremendous difficulty in dealing with the energy of grief because it can be so painful that you cannot even allow it to happen. And then you are actually hurting yourself because you're not allowing the energy of grief to move through you. So if the situation is right now where, if you're honest with yourself, there are certain situations, people, relationships, dynamics, whether it's purely personal, yourself with yourself, or between you and a significant other, or between you and certain significant others, or you and humanity. Like if you're feeling like really out of touch with humanity and it's very painful for you, It's really, really important. Like the situation is like right now. Let's just acknowledge it, that it's really painful and it hurts. It hurts to the point of crying. Okay? Let's just be honest about it. And you're putting in your notes. I just saw your notes. Crying over 3 different things. 1, 2, 3. But again, it's not the end of the world. Life moves on. What's the problem here? Okay, Melanie, honestly, I really thank you for typing that into the screen. It's really helping for everyone and anyone else who's watching this right now, because it clarifies your reading. You're actually typing here grief and sorrow over someone else's trauma, then your own healing, then over your loved one's crises. That's 3 separate energy fields. But it's all trauma, pain, grief, sorrow. Thank God you're acknowledging it. Thank God you're allowing that energy to flow through you. The worst thing you could do is pretend that this doesn't exist and try to deny it and bury it with drugs or alternative activities or anything and everything you can to avoid this. So, as painful as this may be, you're actually functioning as a healthy human being by allowing the grief to flow. What's the problem here? Okay, to me it feels like there might be a loss of some kind of foundational sense of stability or an anchor in your life, in your world, where you could almost feel as though, like, okay, to me this feels like this energy is not you. It's the King of Pentacles. It might be that there's someone. Okay. Hold on, let me look at this. It might feel as though your support system, whether it's from yourself, being able to support yourself, or from a significant other or significant others to support you or maintain the stability and structure in your life, is at risk. At risk of losing all this. You might, if you are frightened that you might be losing a sense of material, financial, physical stability and security in your life, then that might be understandable, because this is happening to a lot of people on earth right now. Okay? If you're frightened that you cannot, let's say you're one of these like superpowered females who have to act as though you're a male, where you have to be the breadwinner in your life. Or let's say you are connected with a significant other who is a breadwinner in your life. But either way, whether it's you or the significant other, if there is serious jeopardy and stress and possibility of that ability to be the anchor, the breadwinner, the absolute bedrock security in your life, and if you're terrified that that could be lost, or it's gone, or it's going, or it's already gone, that could be terrifying, okay? No matter what that looks like to you in detail. In a physical life, in our physical life here on earth, if we feel that our fundamental survival is at stake, where like, where's my money going to come from? Where's my stability? Where's my strength going to come from? Where's my protection? Where's my retirement? Where's my future? Where is my anchor? Where is all of that stuff? If you feel any of that is in jeopardy, then you would have a right to feel really scared, okay? So how are we going to deal with this going forward? Okay. So we're dealing with the energy of decision making here. With the Two of Swords, let me just look at your notes. I just saw this. Okay? Oh my God. I'm looking at all these notes on the chat. Holy shit. Huh? Lorraine, whoa. Oh, Melanie, yes, I see that. Okay. Now, another note from Melanie is like, only due to COVID mandates, i.e. mandatory vaccine, but I'm not afraid. I'm confident something will open up for me. Okay. So if you're terrified that your, let's say, your livelihood, your integrity, your ability to maintain yourself, or your ability for family, or a major provider to take care of you, if all of that is in potential stress or jeopardy, the way to go forward is to give yourself permission. Give yourself a little bit of time, a little bit of permission. Like, for example, allow for a little bit of time. I'm going to actually put a timestamp on here. Okay, so we started with this really powerful new moon eclipse over here. Sagittarius Sun, Sagittarius New Moon. And then we're going to end up over here. And let's have a look. Where is the full moon itself? Okay, that's on the 18th. The 18th of December. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So in about another week from now, we're going to reach the full moon where we have a Sagittarius Sun and a Gemini Moon. Okay, so what I'm suggesting here, what I'm feeling here is for you is over the next week, please, Melanie, over the next week, give yourself permission to kind of go deep into meditation, deep into your own private space, whether you have to do it on a smartphone where you start clicking like you know how smartphones can be very effective at just leading you through a trail of links and connections or whatever? In order for you to know what you need to know and feel what you need to feel about how things are going to look for you, it looks to me like you're going to have to deliberately tune in and invite messages to come to you. In other words, the way to go forward is like, I ask for whatever I need to know to come to me through synchronicity, through divine timing, through divine intervention, through intuition, through my smartphone, through my computer, through my internet, whatever it takes. Please bring me that information that I need so that I can make the decisions that I need to make to go forward. I hope that makes sense. Okay? But it's by invitation. I think the deep core message here is by invitation, where you deliberately reach out to your guardian angels, your invisible friends, your loved ones from the great beyond, whoever it is, whatever it is that's out there, where you connect psychically when you go to sleep at night and you're kind of hovering in that twilight zone between sleep and awake, and you're starting to connect with angels in the dreamscape and so on. You deliberately set it up where you say, I'm going to go to sleep now. I need to know through my dreams, I want to know some messages, knowledge, information. Please bring to me through my own natural radar system, my own antennae. Please bring to me that which I need to know so that I can make conscious, deliberate, positive decisions for my life going forward from here, given everything that we just talked about, okay? Now, you made your notes there about COVID mandates. You're not afraid, and you're confident something will open up for me. Well, something will open up for you, but I believe it's by invitation. It's like you have to deliberately ask for that. Like, please, dear angels, tell me what I need to know. Send me the messages. Send me the information. I am opening up my antennae and my radar system for what other people might call intuition or divine guidance. Let it happen. Because you can't proceed without that. You have to have that. The way to get it is to understand and believe that it's real, and then ask for it by invitation, and then it comes to you. That's it. Now, the answers are not here on this reading, because that's outside of this reading. Okay. Whatever that looks like, okay, Melanie? To me, this looks like it's important to really lean very heavily on the spiritual and the divine. Ask for divine information. Ask for messages to come to you. Like I can do it here right now. Please, dear angels, archangels, personal, invisible friends, all of those entities and energies around Melanie, please bring Melanie what she needs to know so that she can have a better chance of making good, healthy decisions about what's best for her. But it's better if you do that yourself. Okay? Okay. So I hope that makes sense. It sounds like it does. Okay, that's good. So that's your reading. Thank you so much, Melanie. I'm going to take this all apart now, and we can all move on. See what happens next. Actually, what happens next is that's basically the end of the show. It is a show because it is a show. It's on stage, but really, it's more like a service. I hope some of these readings helped other people tonight. I know there's a few people tonight who showed up that they haven't been here before, but I'm so happy that you've been here, and I hope you got something out of it. Please tell your friends and family. Pass it on. It's all about the healing power of love. How can we activate the healing power of love in your life in a way that works for you? Okay? It's like super simple. On the other hand, simple is not easy. Ha, 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 ha. They didn't tell you that when you went to, kindergarten, or you went to church, or when you went to school when you were a kid. They don't teach you any of that stuff. Thank you, Melanie. Okay, thank you, Melanie. Very kind and generous. Oh, I'm going to do this properly. Thank you, Melanie. Thank you, Tina. You probably already went to bed. I don't blame you. Thank you, Kimber. And thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you so, so much for trusting yourselves to me like this. I do what I can. Thank you, Gregory. Gregory, you're the man. Thank you so much. I'm going to say goodnight to everybody because we all have lives to live. We got stuff to do, places to go, people to see, all of that. It is Sunday night here, Sunday late night in Las Vegas. It's cold and chilly. It's not cold like it is in Helena, Montana. On the other hand, we did not have any Australians or New Zealanders here tonight. We didn't have anybody from Libya or Europe because of the time zones and everything. But I'm wishing everybody over there in Australia and New Zealand and the Southern Hemisphere, bless you. I hope you're having a wonderful Christmas, a warm, sunny, fun, beautiful Christmas in the Southern Hemisphere. Over here, it's same old, same old. Snow, cold, Santa, ho, ho, ho. Thank you very much. Have a great week, everybody. I'm going to wrap it up, sign out now. We've done our readings, and I don't really have much more to offer. Zainab Gohar, you donated? Whoa, wait a minute, hold on. Oh man, I can't do any. I'm not. Hold on, Zainab. Give me a second here. Stay there. Don't go away. Don't go away, Zainab. I can't. Okay, it's not showing up. I don't see anything here. So, all right. So, yeah, it's over. I don't. There's no. I haven't seen anything here. I don't know if you've been watching or whether you did it by super chat or by PayPal to the email or through the donation page on Terra Lumination. Oh, you had it rewinded to the beginning. Oh. Zaneb, okay? Okay, Zaneb, look at this. Zaneb, I owe you one, all right? I'm not doing any more readings tonight. Thank you very much. If you put the donation in, it will show up on my PayPal or my email or super chat or something. So don't worry. I've got you. Zaneb, please come back next Sunday. I hope you can come back next Sunday. I'm not sure what the day is exactly. Let me just check the calendar. Next Sunday is the 19th of December. Okay? I don't know what time zone you're in or whatever, but it's here in America in Las Vegas. Next Sunday night is the 19th of December. So I will get you your reading next Sunday. Got it? Okay? I hope that helps. Don't worry. We got it. We got you. I see you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. I'm going to wrap it up right now. I'm going to just put a bit of... I'm going to wrap out really quickly. Let's put it that way, okay? And here we go. Take care, everyone.